All right, guys. So let's cover this article. We have this article: Nihal Sarin on Daniel Naroditsky's death. He, Vladimir Kramnik, has kind of literally taken a life. An American chess star and New York Times columnist death sparks intrigue. It sparks intrigue. Indian GM blames Russian GM who's made an allegation of cheating. All right. So here we go. Actually, there is no music on the scene, I realize, so it doesn't matter for you guys. But let's keep going. The death on Monday of New York Times columnist and educator Daniel Naroditsky, who was once hailed as a chess prodigy while becoming a grandmaster at 18, has sparked a buzz online. There is a growing refrain that the American GM, who is 29, was under severe stress after allegations of cheating were leveled against him by former world champion Vladimir Kramnik. Now, a prominent Indian voice has joined the chorus. Indian GM Nihal Sarin, who was the last player Naroditsky faced on the popular online forum chess.com, squarely blames Kramnik, who has repeatedly accused the American player of cheating while playing online, an allegation that Naroditsky had firmly denied. So we have the tweets here. The relentless, baseless accusations of public interrogations he faced in recent months caused him immense pressure and pain. This has to stop. When respected figures spread unfounded allegations without accountability, real lives are destroyed. Daniel's smile faded after the attacks began. We all saw it. The chess world has lost one of its brightest lights, someone who made our game accessible to millions. Rest in peace, Daniel. You deserved so much better. Okay. Kramnik has kind of literally taken a life, Nihal told the Indian Express. The 21-year-old Indian is an expert at blitz chess like Naroditsky, with both having played each other in over 2,000 online games. I'll put the link in chat for you guys shortly. Now, it's important to note, this is actually a very, very important point that I'm gonna make right now about this whole topic, which is when people talk about this, a lot of people are gonna be like, who cares? He's just one old crazy guy saying things. I'm going to tell you guys, when you grow up in the world of chess, like, I'll just use myself as an example. When I'm a young kid, I'm looking up to like Gary Kasparov, Vishy Anand. I've spoken numerous times about how the World Championship at the World Trade Center in New York was so inspiring for me. And it played a huge role in me getting really interested in chess. You have these people that you look up to. Like, these people are giants in the game. If you get the title of world champion, it is a title and a level of prestige which no one else, which like just so few people have it, that it carries so much weight. Now, someone accepted a challenge, so I'm going to abort now, actually. Sorry. I'm not going to play right now because we're covering this article. But the thing is, it carries so much weight. Like, there are only, I guess technically now there are 18 world champions, but there's so few world champions in the game of chess that it carries its weight. And this is important too to point out, because when people say just ignore it, even for myself, when Kramnik started this nonsense 2 years ago, it was actually November of 2023 when he started this nonsense right before, I remember this very clearly, right before the Chess Champions Tour final in Toronto. Like, it really took me aback. It really had a very, very negative effect on me. And actually, I played very poorly in that tournament. I was very lucky that in that Chess Champions Tour, I was able to sort of come back at the end of the event and finish in 5th place or something. But like, it had a dramatic effect on me. And like I've said, I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of fans. I have a lot of support. I'm very, very strong mentally. But if it had that effect on me, you can only imagine the effect it has on others. And to make it to even go beyond that, like, this was not a one-time thing or a short period of like 1 month and then Kramnik moves on. Even nowadays with myself, just like a month ago when I farmed my way to 3430, Kramnik was back at it saying, "Oh, I'm cheating. Like, there's something wrong with my play." He was back at it, and that's kind of the point. Kramnik is not. It's not something where it's like you say one thing and you stop. He continues to attack people over and over and over and over again. And it's never ending. Like, even what he said about me, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, that's literally 2 years since he started this nonsense. And I'm being generous by saying nonsense. So as it relates to Danya, and Danya, I think, even said this in his last stream. You know, the thing is, if Danya's under this tremendous pressure psychologically, because if he plays well, there are a lot of people who think that. Well, actually, I should back up. One big difference for Danya versus a lot of other people is that, as people are aware, Daniel Naroditsky, based on his last name, of course, he is of Russian heritage, and he grew up speaking both English and Russian. His parents are from Russia, I believe, so he speaks both languages. And with Kramnik being a Russian player, a Russian speaker, I mean, Russian being his first language, there was a lot of talk in the Russian circles, and there were a lot of people there specifically who were on Kramnik's side. So Kramnik's stuff, Dan is saying this both in English, but then he's also saying it in Russian as well. So he's getting a double dose of it. Whereas everybody else, you see the nonsense in like English and that's it. But Danya had to see it in both English and Russian, and it never stops. It never stops. It keeps going. Russian was Danya's first language. I think he spoke Russian with both his parents. So the thing is, you see that, and it's like, and then when you play well off stream, for example, of course, like, oh, but he's off stream. He's like, he must be cheating. And I would tell you guys that's actually one of the reasons that for a long time I also wasn't playing off stream either, because I knew that if I play off stream and I do stuff, somebody'd be like, well, it's not on stream. He's obviously cheating. All this crap. So it really should not be understated how big of a toll it takes, because when you start seeing it over and over again, and actually, another thing that I was thinking about earlier is, people know I'm not particularly diplomatic. Most of the time I'm not. I'm just going to say what I think. I grew up in New York. I have the FU attitude. Like, I'm just going to tell you how it is. So I'm not particularly diplomatic, and I don't think I ever will be. But when Kramnik started his nonsense, I basically was like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Fuck off and get lost, basically, was my attitude. Now, pardon my French for a second, for saying that, but like, that was my attitude. But unlike me, Danya actually tried to be diplomatic. He tried to, he mistakenly assumed that Kramnik was doing this in good faith. That when Kramnik was like, talking about cheating in chess and all this other stuff, it was in good faith. When of course it was not in good faith. It was done completely in bad faith the whole way from start to finish. So then Danya actually engages him. He, I think, did a stream with like 3 cameras, then like 5 cameras, then 6 cameras, like to the point of absurdity, and still, that didn't shut Kramnik up. Kramnik continued to accuse him of cheating over and over and over again. And it's so like, it cannot be understated how bad this really is, how bad it is, and how it never ends. It never ends. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Kramnik has kind of literally taken a life, Nihal told the Indian Express. The 21-year-old Indian is an expert at blitz chess, like Naroditsky, with both having played each other in over 2,000 online games. Recalling their final face-off on chess.com, Nihal said, his last games were against me. That day, we played a bit in the morning, and then there were our last games at night. We were also talking about a few things. He said he was under immense stress due to a lot of baseless accusations headed by Kramnik, of course. Apparently, unfortunately, quite a few others also seem to have joined in. I can totally imagine the pain he was going through, and has been going on for a very long time. I thought that he's a very strong guy. I don't think he would get affected so easily. Now, this is also another very, very, very important point to this, which is that yes, Kramnik is the one saying this, but there are other top 10 GMs chiming in on this topic too behind the scenes. So that's actually an important point to make as well. So that's the second second part of it. But let's keep going. The Indian GM acknowledged Russian GM Kramnik's greatness as a chess player. He's a great player, a world champion. He gave a lot to chess. He's one of the greatest players of all time, without any doubt. But these days, the harm he's causing, he's said. Nihal, too, was targeted with allegations of cheating in online games, but he was able to tide over the crisis. Fortunately for me, my friends, coaches, they immediately defended me. I had quite a bit of a support system. Unfortunately, Daniel Naroditsky was not having that. I was aware that I had some really good results. I was kind of waiting for it. I knew Kramnik would come after me someday, he said. So, this is also another very important point, which is like when I look at, is it not allowed to say what other top GMs? I told you guys it's not the time. I'll probably confront some of these people privately, but it's not a thing that I'm going to do publicly. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say. But with Danya, nobody stood up and supported him. This was a big part of it. When you're in this online space, like I've spoken about it a lot, but it's very much the real world and not the real world at the same time. And when you see all these people blasting you, especially in Russian, I know Danya felt it very much from the Russian side. But you see all these people blasting you. You see all these tweets. You see some of these people writing DMs on Facebook and whatnot. And everyone's like, "How'd you do this? How'd you do that?" And all these other things. Like, it's very, very tough. And then the problem is most people did not say anything about it. So like if you look at it, the only person who stood up for him was myself, and that's not to like give myself a pat on the back. I don't feel good. I feel terrible that I'm the only one who actually stood up for him. But people were not standing up. People were not standing up. Everyone behind the scenes is laughing, saying, oh, Kramnik is old, he's crazy, whatever. But no one is saying anything publicly about it. No one's saying anything. And I think it's because, frankly, people are afraid of Kramnik going after them, if I can say that. I do believe that's the truth. So it's really annoying. Really annoying. It's an article. These are Nihal's words. These are not my own words. Kramnik wants to go and sue Nihal. He can try to do that. He wants to try and sue me. He can try to do that. He knows exactly what's going to happen if he does that, though. I will say that very, very clearly. Let's keep going. Like he can delete all his tweets. He can delete everything, but that's not gonna change the fact that these things are permanent. Let's keep going. Nihal too was targeted with allegations of cheating in online games, but was able to tide over the crisis. Fortunately for me, my friends, coach, they immediately defended me. Actually, I read this part, so let's keep going. Nihal also said there should be zero tolerances when it comes to cheating, but there was a way of dealing with the problem. Cheating in chess is a huge problem, but what Kramnik does is completely unacceptable. He just blurts out accusations every day. He was a world champion, a very influential figure after all, and I don't know if he realizes the impact it can have on innocent people. Kramnik's methods, it seems like you burn down a city to catch some cheaters. Basically, you kill some thousand other completely innocent guys to get one or two guys, he said. I actually have a different take on this. My take is that for Kramnik, basically, if it's not something that's going to benefit him directly and he's not seeing any benefits, he's more than happy to just burn the whole system down, even though he knows what he's doing is wrong. Is my view. Is that basically, I've played chess a long time. You know, one of the problems with chess is it's a zero-sum game. So when it's a zero-sum game and it's you against your opponents, you against the world, whatever it is, like it is one of those situations where oftentimes you view it as like, if I don't win, then screw everybody else, kind of. Like that is definitely an attitude of how people can look at these sorts of things. So let's keep going. All right. The Charlotte chess community in North Carolina, where Naroditsky trained and taught, announced his death on social media, calling him a beloved member of the chess community who should be remembered for his passion and love of the game of chess and the joy and inspiration he brought to all of us every day. Okay. But reports emerging from the U.S. were silent on the cause of Naroditsky's death. Even then, Kramnik continued to target him, hinting at potential substance abuse and deteriorating mental health. Taking to X, Kramnik posted, "Don't do drugs." He then referenced a strange recent stream by Naroditsky. Like, this is just so fucking rich. Sorry, you guys. I don't know if I'm going to post this, but this is so rich coming from Kramnik. So rich coming from Kramnik. Don't do drugs. So rich. Okay. According to Nihal, Kramnik has others on his radar too. He's after Czech Grandmaster David Navarra. Navarra is struggling. I am more worried about him right now. I don't know how to say this, but I sincerely hope that Kramnik gets some big sanctions. I don't know how, but he really needs to pay for what he's doing to others. Navarra is the nicest guy in chess since a long time. He's been having some psychological issues, and he has even mentioned that these accusations have made him feel suicidal. He wrote to FIDE asking for some sanctions against Kramnik, and nothing happened, he said. Okay. Nihal, a two-time Chess.com junior speed chess champion, then gets emotional. We'll talk about Naroditsky. Why would somebody like Naroditsky cheat? And that is the question that guys like Kramnik can just very conveniently ignore. I cannot process how messed up some of these minds are. I don't understand. What do you get from this? What do you get from ruining anyone's life? Now, Kramnik is almost directly responsible for taking one. So, very, very strong words from Nihal Sarin. I think he's probably the Indian number one junior still. If Gukesh is, I don't know if Gukesh Jr. or not, but one of the top 4 or 5 Indian players, very, very talented player at speed chess, someone who actually, like so many of the people that have been targeted by Kramnik, someone who's been great online for years, and slowly his classical chess is catching up with his blitz. So very, very well said by Nihal. Very, 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 very well said. A good article. This is on the Indian Express. My mods can link to the article, and that would be good. Okay, so we also have another tweet. We have another tweet we're going to cover very quickly. This tweet is from Nemo. I don't think I'm going to watch the clip necessarily. I think out of respect I won't. But this is from Nemo, also known as Nemscope. Nihal's 21 now, man. Nihal's been so good for so long. I didn't realize he's 21. Time passes, everybody. Time passes. I remember Nihal being like 12 years old, but anyway, let's keep going. In watching the clip below of Danya's last stream and hearing the pain in his voice, how deeply the baseless accusations affected him, I am left so mad at what we all allowed to happen right in front of us. It's time to stop worrying about the backlash. I am calling on the FIDE EDC executive director directive council, or I don't know what it is, but it's some kind of council or committee to remove Vladimir Kramnik from the FIDE record books, revoke his title, and disqualify his world championship. Chess is one of the most beloved games in the world and should be a place for kindness and inclusion. Let me turn my lights back on. Okay, there we go. It should be unilaterally unacceptable to use a platform that chess has given you to bully, harass, and slander a colleague. What Kramnik has done to David Navarre, Hikaru, and Danya, and others cannot be tolerated. It is up to our community and the governing body to set an example that this type of behavior will have consequences. Make it known loud and clear that chess stands against these hateful acts. If you do them intentionally and maliciously, there will be no place for you in our game. FIDE and its EDC must establish clear policies moving forward towards the safety of its players both in person and digitally. The events leading up to this tragedy happened in broad daylight over the last 18 months. They could have been stopped. Nothing like this can ever be allowed to happen. Now, I will watch the clips. I think Danya says exactly what I said, right?
But the problem is, ever since the Kramnik stuff, I feel like if I start doing well, people assume the worst of intentions.
I think you guys can see this, right?
Like, why did he end the stream? So they start playing well. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but you don't have anything to prove to those people.
But see, this is exactly the problem.
The issue is just the lingering
Exactly.
effect of it.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean that's exactly the point. That's exactly the problem. You see, it's like you can see it there. You can see it. That's exactly the problem. It's like you hear Peter Giannatos in the background, who's the manager. He's basically the head of the Charlotte Chess Center. He's saying, like basically, don't worry, don't care about those idiots. But it's always there. It's always present. It's always there. There's nothing you can really do about it. So it's yeah, it's really, really sad. That's Peter Giannatos. That's Peter Giannatos in the background who's talking. Yeah, like it is what it is. How can someone continue to harass every single day? That blows my mind. I honestly don't know how someone can be that insane. Like I actually don't know. Like 2 years of this is actually like it's ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean it's insane. It's just insane. Completely insane. So I think that's all that I'm going to cover for right now with this topic. So it's I know I said a little bit more than perhaps I would have liked to have said, but yeah. Can I comment on chess.com Danny Wrench and Anish Giri's role? I mean, if people I'm just going to say this bluntly. I don't believe there any if people I think people refer to some crackpot theory that like chess.com is blackballing Danya or somehow they took away all his gigs or his commentary gigs or something. Like that's not the case, because if that were the case, why is nobody doing commentary anymore? Like Robert Hess doesn't do commentary, Danya doesn't do commentary. I recently found that James Canty doesn't do commentary for chess.com anymore. Like so many it's not like it's not like Dan is the guy, like Dan is the one guy not doing commentary. Like there literally are a bunch of people who are suddenly not doing commentary for chess.com. So that is just complete nonsense. I'm just going to debunk that right up front for anybody who thinks that like somehow like chess.com took Danya's lunch money or something, took away something he loved. Like I'm just going to nip that in the bud before people start thinking that's a real thing. So yeah, that's the I saw it also. I'm gonna have to show you this tweet. This tweet actually, I'll read it. It's gonna be so hard not to break down, but I did see the Robert Hess tweet. And this was extremely rough to see. I saw this tweet this morning. This was like very, very hard to see. This was there's a picture, of course. There was obviously a picture of Danya and Robert. And it said, this is Robert Hess' tweet. As you can tell, it's tough for me to read this. I saw it earlier, but it's still going to be tough. It says, I have seen the outpouring of love for a man who is so humble that he would incorrectly say he's undeserving of it. My eyes are welling as I watch one of his favorite comedic sketches, and I can hear his laughter at the thought of me using social media. Daniel Naroditsky was brilliant in a way that was endearing and mesmerizing. He was a human thesaurus who casually dropped words like mellifluous and Gallimaufry, which, by the way, I don't even know that word, all while playing elite tactical chess with seconds on his clock. He still always found time to help his audiences discover the hidden treasures of a position, a dedicated coach to all who sought to improve. And it says, some of you may have enjoyed Danya and me commentating together over the years, and I hope you can plainly see that we shared a deep bond and genuine passion for the game. Daniel wasn't just a colleague and a close friend, but a kindred spirit. We both studied history and regularly found ourselves reading the same book or watching the same show, usually because if I mentioned one, he'd be so curious he had to start it himself. We would talk for hours and yet still always have more topics to discuss. The reason he was an incredible teacher is because he was a student of life, always hungry to learn. And the last one, it says, Daniel was at my wedding just 2 months ago, and what I wouldn't do to see him again now. We had so many plans, ranging from tournament coverage to video series. We had so many more memories to make. I will have more to say at a later time, but for now I ask that you respect the privacy of Daniel's family and loved ones. Please save a headset for me and my friend. I'll prepare some puns. So, yeah, I mean, this was actually a very, I saw this like an hour ago, right before I went live. This was extremely rough to read. So, yeah, so just wanted to share that too with you guys. But yeah, it's rough. It's very rough. It's very sad what has happened. Obviously, there's nothing you can do to change it. But yeah, it's incredibly sad. It's incredibly sad. And I mean, I'm curious to see whether FIDE will do anything. I am actually kind of curious to see if they're going to actually do something and stand up. It's been a long time coming. And one of the things that as I think about this whole thing, that really bothers me overall is that for so long, pretty much since the start, I've tried to use my voice and use my platform and speak up about how dangerous what Kramnik has been doing is, and so many people just laugh at it and treat it like it's some big joke. And it's only now, I think, when there's actual like real consequences, real things happening from it, that suddenly I think something might happen. In spite of the fact, for a long time, I mean, I've known this from the start when it started with me all the way back in October and November of 2023. Like when I saw how it affected me, and then to see these other people, like it's just like, I mean, on some hand, I mean, it makes me in my mind wonder why I didn't try to do more, because I had a feeling that something like this might happen. I did have a feeling something like this might happen. I did have a feeling, because it's just it's like one of those things where if it doesn't directly affect you, you don't say anything about it. You don't speak up publicly. You don't try to do anything about it. So I'm definitely, like, in my mind, like, even now, like, even with a day having passed, I still feel like it's very frustrating to me that for a long time I've really spoken up very undiplomatically. I've been very brutally blunt and honest about how bad what's going on is, and still nobody cares, nobody does anything. So that's my 2 cents for right now. I mean, I don't want to get much more negative. So I'm gonna have to set up Proctor, because you have to use Proctor to play. That's also another thing. I actually, here's my last rant. My last rant of this day. So many things that are in place now. Daniel also complained about this to me too. So many of the security theater measures that are in place now are because of Kramnik. So, for example, I will show you guys, when you play a game, maybe it's a bug or something, or they've changed it, but after the game ends, you cannot actually do analysis on your game. Like, I had this happen during the SCC, I believe it was, or maybe it's the Comet Open, where when the game ended, the analysis bar, like, you should see my screen right now, right? You see my screen, you see this pop-up. Basically, this specifically, after the game ends in like Title 2 or SCC or Comet Chest, one of the streams I did, that you can't pop open the analysis. I'm almost convinced that that's because of Kramnik. Because Kramnik started crying like a little baby after these videos were done, where it's like Hikaru can see the eval bar. So, in spite of all the damage that Kramnik has done, there's so many of these little issues that still are things that are happening because of Kramnik. Also, why was there the emo mode only mode? Because of Kramnik. Why is there the delay? Because of Kramnik. All these things are because of Kramnik. Kramnik got these things that some of which should never have been implemented, and Chess.com basically caved in because he's a former world champion. It's happened before Comet too, but I'm just using that as the most recent example. So, like, that's also the other thing. Like, some of these things are completely irrelevant and do nothing to stop cheating, and they're in place because of all of Kramnik's babbling on the internet. So that's my last little bit of rant before I set up Proctor. But yeah, I did want to point that out. Okay, let's keep going. What do we have? We have an article. Let me stop the music as well. And let me change the scene, of course. Where are we? YouTube. There we go. And let me put the sound on. Where's my camera? My camera's missing. There we go. Okay, so let me put chat back on as well. Let me adjust this article. Let me adjust the article. 1 second. Make this a little bit smaller. Not full screen. Sorry, you guys. My apologies. Okay, so we are back. We're gonna keep going. We are gonna play the after party. I did see Charlie's video. I covered it on stream yesterday. So, okay, you guys. We have this article from the British Broadcasting Corporation in the United Kingdom, and it's about Daniel Naroditsky. Of course, it's U.S. chess grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky dies age 29. This is an article by Harry Sikolich and Gabriella Pomeroy. All right, so let's get into the article. It says U.S. chess grandmaster and popular YouTube chess commentator Daniel Naroditsky has died age 29. The chess player's family announced his unexpected death in a statement released by his club, the Charlotte Chess Center, on Monday. No cause of death was given. The statement described him as a cherished member of the chess community, admired and respected by fans and players around the world. Naroditsky was famous for his chess YouTube channel, which featured video tutorials and live streams against competitors and inspired hundreds of thousands of people across the world to play the game. Naroditsky's channel had nearly 500,000 subscribers, while his Twitch stream drummed up 340,000 followers. Fans praised his insight and passion, casually referring to him as Danya. Now, Danya, of course, was his nickname. He played a pivotal role in popularizing chess content online, the International Chess Federation said. This is a massive loss for the world of chess, chess world number 2, Hikaru Nakamura said in a social media post. Nakamura, a close friend of Naroditsky, told the BBC he inspired hundreds of thousands of people to play chess. A lot of people loved his videos. Now, I am going to tell you guys, I do want to point out one thing. I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow, and I will be traveling to, I will be leaving St. Louis to go attend the funeral. I'm not going to say specifics about it, but I will be attending his funeral, so I won't be streaming after today for the next couple of days. Just want to mention that right now, when I'm still alive. And it says, Nakamura, a close friend of Naroditsky, told the BBC, inspired hundreds of thousands of people to play chess. A lot of people loved his videos. When it came time to making chess content to help beginners, he was the best, he said. Now, I think this is very important. One of the things about Danya is, I think the things that really were really, unique. Maybe it's, I don't even know if it's in here. Because, of course, I did an interview this morning about it. But one of the things that I that I would say is, like, Danya, he was kind of like the right mix of certain things. He was a very, very good person, and he was very good at the content creation, making videos specifically for people who are beginners up to probably, I would say, intermediate level, maybe even master level. Really, really good at all of that while being able to play against the top guys. Like, that is something incredibly unique. There are plenty of people out there who can make the content, but the fact that Danya could make this content that was understandable and play against Magnus or myself, people of our level at the very top, or Ali Reza, Nepo, etc., was truly something very, very special. Very, very special. Wow. My voice almost already broke once during the interview with Take 6 Takes. Of course, my light's gonna go out. Come on, for the last time. Stay on. Stay on. Okay. I have played more than 1,000 games of chess with Daniel. Nakamura added, chess is a very cutthroat world and emotions run high, but Daniel was always calm. Now, the important point about this note, actually, is that I looked at the stats yesterday, and I thought I had played 1,000 games, but David Howell said that I played 3,000 games. So when I looked on chess.com and I thought it was a total number, that was only Blitz. So I played over 3,000 games against him. God only knows how many games I played against Danya on the Internet Chess Club when we were younger as well. We played quite a few. I would bet it was probably... I'm going to bet it was probably close to 1,000 on the Internet Chess Club as well. I mean, I have no way of going back and checking that. So we played many, many games. Many, many games. I think that the amount of games I played against Daniel was more than any other top-level matchup. Like, I know I've played probably 1,000 against Ali Reza or something, but definitely he's the person I played the most games against. So, sorry, this is actually a direct quote. I thought it was 1,000. Apparently it's 3,000. I'm a complete idiot, but let's keep going. The online content creation wasn't about money from Nakamura's side. He had a true passion for the game. Now, this is actually the most important statement, I think, in all of this, which is like, the thing that I would say about Danya is if you compare him to, say, myself or to Levy, or I guess I'll just use us as the obvious examples, or many, many others too, is that the thing with Danya is he just loved playing it. He would stream any hour of the day, play anytime, make videos randomly here or there, play a tournament in Charlotte, play Blitz. Like he didn't have, say, the discipline that say like a Levy or myself had in some ways. But he had a passion, and his ability to just always be there was truly very special. Even if it didn't mean that he monetized things the way that he probably could have, perhaps he was always there for the game. He was always there for chess. Naroditsky first took an interest in chess at the age of 6 when his older brother Alan asked him to help entertain a group of children at a birthday party. Now, one thing that I think is also noteworthy, and I think I mentioned this on my stream yesterday, is that with Danya, I actually heard about his brother long before I heard about Daniel. Like, I heard about Alan Naroditsky before I heard about Daniel Naroditsky. Like, he wasn't like a super prodigy. I think he got to master thereabouts, but I actually heard about his brother before I ever heard about Daniel. I think many people, if you didn't watch Daniel streams very closely, you probably would be unaware of the fact that he had an older brother who was actually very, very good at chess as well. I think his brother was close to master, but I haven't checked. I haven't checked like FIDE recently or anything like that. So, his father, Vladimir, and multiple coaches soon noticed his talent. Now, sadly, Daniel's father passed away, and I don't think Daniel ever had his father on stream, but like, I didn't know his father super well, but I've heard stories from friends of mine. I did meet him on a couple of occasions as well, and he was like this very, very kind of like very boisterous, very, very large figure. I don't mean like figure like physically, but I mean he's kind of like, to me at least, felt like his larger than life, figure of like a classic Russian type guy. Very, 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 very nice. Always had something interesting to say. But unfortunately, he died, I think like 3-4 years ago, maybe even further back than that. But he's a very, very good person, and the few occasions I had to meet his dad were always interesting. As far as I was concerned, I was just playing chess with my brother, Naroditsky told the New York Times in a 2022 interview. This picture is also rough to see. Very, very rough to see. Yeah. 2091 standard rating. Yeah. He gained international attention in 2007 when he won the Under-12 Boys World Youth Championship in Antalya, Turkey. Another thing that's important to note about Danya, like I'm just going to also say this, is that relative to, I'm just going to say actually all of us in the content creation space, he had a way of speaking like someone who is very well educated. And I don't necessarily want to like say that chess players are dumb or stupid or idiots, but when you compare Danya's linguistic skills, I guess is the word. I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but if you compare his ability to use like fancy words, speak very, very much like someone who's erudite, it's something that none of the rest of us actually possess. If you look at myself, or you look at Levy, or you look at any of us, like he has that sort of that class about him that none of us have. I'm just going to straight up say that. That's another very unique thing that he had. He was very, very well educated. Exactly. Very eloquent. So, at the age of 14, he published a book called Mastering Positional Chess about practical skills and technical maneuverings in the game. He earned the title of Grand Master of the International Chess Federation's highest ranked chess competitor while he was still a teenager after winning the 2013 U.S. Junior Championship. Naroditsky later graduated from Stanford University and worked as a chess coach in Charlotte, North Carolina. The New York Times hired him in 2022 as a new chess columnist and asked him to contribute to a series of chess puzzles for its game section. Even at my level, I can still discover beautiful things about the game every single time. I train, teach, play, or am a commentator at a tournament, Naroditsky told the newspaper at the time. In the world of chess content creation, Naroditsky was best known for his late-night streams, his speedruns, and for being an exceptional bullet player. His friend and fellow chess player Nemo Zhu, also Nemsko, of course, on Twitch, told the BBC. Zhao, a Toronto-based woman chess grandmaster and chess content creator, told the BBC that Naroditsky was an inspiration. Zhao played chess with him both in person and virtually at chess events across the US. He had this way to make chess fun, she said. She added that he was known for being a true historian of the game who had a great memory for chess facts and historical games and did everything with kindness. Now, this is also another point. Like, when I look at all of us, like, I have a pretty good understanding of chess history, but, like, what I know is basically world champions, some of the world championship games, this sort of stuff. Like, Danya knows a lot more than just that stuff. He knows about a lot of tournaments, about players who weren't the world champion. His knowledge for someone who is from the younger generation honestly was one of a kind. I can't think of anybody else in the chess world around Danya's age, let's say frankly below the age of 50, who has anywhere near the knowledge about chess and chess history the way that he did. So from that standpoint, it is also really, really sad, extremely sad to see. Best impressions ever. He had great impressions also. I mean, there's so many things that he did that were that were very good. Like he was good across the spectrum. Like I wouldn't say like, actually, I mean, he was a great player. Let's not understate it, but he was like very good at many different things. Many different things. He had this way to make chess fun, she said. She added that he was known for being a true historian, or actually, I read that part. Without people like him, I probably would have quit chess at 17. I've never touched it again, she said. Hundreds of tributes have been paid to Naroditsky by amateur chess players who admired his playing and his video tutorials. Zara Graham, 20 from Lake District in the UK, told the BBC it was Naroditsky's videos that inspired her to play the game regularly. Even though I never met him in person, I was absolutely devastated to hear the news, she said. I actually cried when I found out. He was a brilliant chess teacher who inspired me to start playing when I was 14. He explained things in his YouTube videos so that everyone could understand. Ms. Graham added he made an impact on thousands of people around the world. So, this is a very, very good article. This is from the BBC. I think, there are many articles like this. I think there's probably an article also on the New York Times and everywhere else as well. So a very, very good article about Danya Naroditsky and everything that he did. Very, 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 very good article.